Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to CCxRC. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at this new to me AX24 here. You can see it's flexing like crazy. It's a little different type of a build than I would do, which is what I really like about it. Because I typically wouldn't set it up this way, but I get to try a setup that somebody else built. And I don't need it for comping, so typically that's what I'm thinking about when I'm building trucks out. Anyway, I had my TLR tuned Typhon up for sale on Facebook Marketplace, and Mitch reached out to me asking if I'd be willing to trade, and I really wasn't looking to trade anything, but he mentioned that it was a 24 scale, and I'm always looking for something in 24 scale. You guys know that about now. I said, well, what are we talking about here? So he said he had a slightly upgraded AX24. He lied. No, just kidding. But he did lie. It's more than slightly upgraded. It's heavily upgraded AX24. So I feel like I got a super good deal. I think he feels like he got a super good deal out of it with the TLR tuned Typhon roller. Anyway, you can see it's got Little Guy Racing Parts Swamp King MTs. What's fun about this is seeing how somebody else built a truck. So we're going to go over this. He's got up front here, metal servo horn. You guys know I'm plastic white servo horn kind of a guy. So it's kind of like, we don't have servo savers, so it's like my kind of, I feel like it almost works like one, and it gives a little bit of potential safety in that it'll flex a little. So I typically will run a plastic servo horn on these since we aren't doing that. But you can see he's got wheel wideners here. So it's definitely at least a +4, probably more than that. Definitely widens things out here. You can see this running on the inside there. You can also see it on the wheels with the nut type that it is. So he's gone ahead and widened it. It looks to me like aluminum axles up front, but he's got this, they look to be brass. It's hard to tell. It could be brass. It could just be something else that looks like it, but it looks like they're brass. Steering links up front. Nice, huge treel. Huge, massive treel diff cover for the front. So definitely front weight biasing it, which is good. I like that. Got an Emax servo up here. The ones that we were using in the beginning, the 08 MA2s, and they work decently. So it's definitely an upgrade. Shocks are stock. It does have brass steering knuckles here on the front and in the rear. And these are, it looks like Endure brass. Steering links again, and a smaller diff cover, brass in the back. Another Emax servo in here. And brass skid plate, so you can see lots of upgrades so far. And then it does have a Baby Goliath motor tucked up under here as well. So I haven't done anything to this. I just kind of want to see how it's going to crawl. I don't know what these wheels are, but I love them. It's so deep dish though, and it's like really wide stance. But again, I'm not going to necessarily use this for a comp truck. This thing could just be like an awesome performer. So we're just going to throw it on here and see how it does. I know that, you know, as awesome as these are at getting around and steering, they don't typically tend to be as good as a fully tricked out CCx24. I think on the box it probably is better than, but they tend to tip a lot more than an CCx24 because of the way the suspension is set up on these. So that's just one thing I've noted about them. And typically they have lower scores than even our Class 1 and Class 2 vehicles when we do the comp with them. Even our upgraded ones, just because of the way the body leans. So the benefit of the 4-steer getting you around, we haven't quite figured out how to turn that into more points. Or less points, I guess, would be the correct way to look at it. So here we're going to turn off our 4-steer. Try and line up. This might be too wide to fit on here. It wasn't. I just missed it. I'm going to do a reset. Trying to one-handed drive this thing. All right. right. I feel like I need more steering rate. Steering rate is turned down. So especially for the front steering, I need a little more. That may hurt me with the rear steer because with the brass knuckles, I didn't mention it is a plastic axle. Unless they've been shaved, they typically tend to hit. So I'll just have to watch the heat of that as I go. But the tires are hooking up, the Swamp Kings. The wider stance definitely makes it a little bit trickier with steering. But the rear is really steering compared to the front. Look at that rear turn. Maybe that's why he had the steering rate turned down, is that rear wants to really, really turn. Kind of interesting how the front isn't turning nearly as much. There it goes. I don't know if it needs a little bit more servo power to battle that extra width or what. But I bet this could tackle some big obstacles with these meaty tires on and this wide stance. I bet we could take on some pretty big stuff up at Reaction. Not necessarily make it through the gates though, because the wide stance would be very problematic for that. But I am kind of just curious. Something's... We're hitting full steering there. I don't think it has the ability with this servo to push it quite full. There it goes. With this wide of a stance and these big meaty tires on when it's got a little resistance. So we could potentially upgrade those. Maybe try a Honey Badger or a Mighty Eagle on there. Speaking of, I need to upgrade my Honey Badger on my other AX24 comp truck because I burned it up. Put it to some hard use and was holding it too long on the when I was up against an obstacle and trying to get my force steer working how I wanted it to, and I didn't realize how hard I was pressing it, and I hadn't set the endpoints because I had to bind to a different radio last week, and that thing got so hot. So, oh, you can see that's where the way the suspension will twist up like that. That's where, you know, we love to see the flex, but boy, is it problematic when you have too much flex available. But that back end is really wanting to turn more than the front. Both ways, pretty crazy. I'm gonna have to look into what's causing that. Look at that back end turn. Barely any steering on the front. I want what the back is doing, that kind of performance up front. I had to look into it. Super flex, here's where we're gonna flex out. It's gonna just twist over instead. I mean, it looks cool. Good drop. You want it to settle. Turn into it maybe. There. Nope. Man. So much flex. Driving like a madman, front wheel lifted, torquing it out. So cool. Anyway, guys, that's it. It's got some stickers on there. Mia's Little Guy Racing and George Friel. A lot of the big guys in the 24 scale. Super cool. Anyway, that's it. That's a quick look at this new AX24 that I picked up. He's got this body on here. This is the, I think it's an Element body, it looks like. And looks super good on there. Anyway, thanks for tuning in as always, guys. Have fun RCing. We'll catch you next time.